Whitney Houston is going to launch a concert tour. She will appear on stage with her original band and backup singers, including her brother Gary. The only catch is that Whitney, who died in 2012, will appear as a hologram. Welcome to Plain English, the best podcast for learning English through current events. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and this is episode 162. You can find a full transcript of today's program at plainenglish.com/162. On today's program, Holograms are bringing some of your favorite artists back from the dead. How exactly does that work? And what is it like to see a hologram concert? That's what we'll explore today. Plus, we have a good phrasal verb for you to turn something down. And it's Monday, so we'll close with a quote. Today's quote is from Sir Edmund Hillary, the first explorer to reach the summit of Mount Everest. So stay tuned for that. If you're studying for the IELTS exam, you might have heard my message the other day. If this test is in your future, then you will want to visit plainenglish.com/IELTS, IELTS. That's because you'll find a great free course by our friends at IELTS Advantage. All they do is counsel people on how to take the IELTS exam. It's pretty amazing. And they will tell you the skills you need to get the score you deserve on that test. So check out plainenglish.com/IELTS to read more about that free course. You will soon be able to see Whitney Houston live in concert. The singer, who died at the age of 48 after an accidental drowning, will be revived in electronic form, according to Pat Houston, her sister-in-law, and the president of the late singer's estate. During her lifetime, Whitney Houston had 11 number one hits, including Queen of the Night, I Wanna Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me, My Love Is Your Love, and perhaps her most famous, I Will Always Love You. She was known for hitting and holding the high notes. She sang an excellent version of the national anthem at the Super Bowl in 1991, and she's on the list of the best pop vocalists of all time. Toward the end of her career, though, her reputation was tarnished a bit as she very publicly struggled with drug and alcohol abuse. Ever since she died in 2012, all manner of companies have pitched her estate on business deals, but Pat Houston turned them all down. But that is about to change, and the estate wants to revive the singer's reputation so that people can remember her in her prime. The estate recently sold a 50% share in its assets to a music publisher that will rebuild Whitney Houston's business. Together, they announced a new album of previously unreleased material, a potential Broadway show based on Whitney Houston's life, and, most interestingly, the hologram tour. A hologram is a laser light show that produces what looks like a three-dimensional image of a person on a stage. To make a hologram, you have to first start with a good image of the person in the right clothing and then match their typical movements and essentially create a video of the person doing the actions you want him or her to do on stage, like walk out, wave, things like that, pick up a guitar, etc. A hologram looks three-dimensional, but it's just an image projected onto a screen. The screen is made of something called mylar, which appears transparent, clear, when there's nothing being projected onto it, but it reflects an image when something is being projected onto it. So this is a little complicated, but here's how it works in practice. Here's how they make a hologram on stage. There's a projector on the ceiling of the auditorium or wherever the concert is being held, and it projects an image down onto a mirror on the floor of the stage at an angle. The mirror reflects it up from the floor and onto the mylar screen, and that is what you're seeing when you watch a hologram tour. So this is hard to follow, so I'll describe it one more time. It took me multiple times reading these articles to understand it. So here's what happens. The projector on the ceiling beams the light down at a 45-degree angle away from the audience and toward the floor of the stage. Okay. Then the light from the projector, it hits the mirror flat on the floor of the stage and reflects it back upward, again at a 45-degree angle away from the stage. And that's when the light hits the mylar screen, and the screen is tilted downward so that it reflects the light straight back out toward the audience. And from the seats, it looks like you're looking at a vertical image. If the physics are hard to follow, it doesn't really matter. What matters is you're seeing a lifelike image of a person walking around on stage, strumming a guitar, or belting out vocals. The person can walk out from the side, wave to the audience, sit down on a stool, pull out a guitar, sing some tunes, say goodnight, and walk off again. A good tour will have a live band that syncs up with the movements of the hologram and, of course, vocals from the hologrammed artist's career. Holograms on stage are new. The most famous one to date was when deceased artist Tupac Shakur appeared as a hologram on stage with Snoop Dogg, and they performed together. You can find that video on YouTube, but it is, as they say, not safe for work. The reviews of that one were mixed. It looked more like a cartoon. More recently, though, Bass Hologram produced 2 tours. The singer Roy Orbison, who famously sang Pretty Woman, and the opera singer Maria Callas. They announced an Amy Winehouse tour, but postponed it in February, saying they were still trying to get the images and the creative work done right, and that was taking longer than expected. Audiences have mixed reactions to hologram concerts. One reaction is, wow, it's so lifelike and a lot of fun to go to a concert that I'd otherwise never be able to go to. The other reaction is, that's creepy. Are you supposed to applaud? The singer can't respond in any way to applause, and obviously the singer will never know that you gave it. I saw a video in which they interviewed people who had seen the hologram of the opera singer Maria Callas. One person was wondering, is this art? Is this serious? Others said she, and should we call the image of Maria Callas she or it? I don't know. Anyway, one person said the hologram performance was really powerful and it seemed like Callas was really there. One way this might be more convincing is a live hologram performance by people who are still living. I saw another video online in which a band took the stage in England and performed for a live audience in Florida. In that case, the producers didn't have to rely on old footage or reproduce an artist's movements. The artists were living and doing the performance just in another place. They could also see the audience on a screen in front of them so they could interact with their fans. I think that would be a little more fun than watching someone who's obviously dead give a concert. But that's just me. JR says he's afraid of these holograms because they look like ghosts. Parece fantasma, he said. Looks like ghosts. I think so too. How many of you are studying for the IELTS exam? Maybe you're planning to study at a foreign university, or you need it for a visa, or even a new job. If so, or if you're planning on taking the IELTS for any reason, you will not want to miss the free online course called IELTS Fundamentals. The course is available to all Plain English listeners for free at plainenglish.com/IELTS, IELTS. The course is produced by the team at IELTS Advantage, and it tells you all the strategies and skills you need to get your Band 7 or higher on the IELTS exam. And the best thing is, if you need some extra help, IELTS Advantage has a variety of additional resources that you can take advantage of. So if the IELTS is in your future, you will want to visit plainenglish.com/IELTS and take the free online course. We have a phrasal verb to share today, and that is to turn someone or something down. When you turn someone down, you decline an offer that that person has made to you. Here's how you first heard it. Whitney Houston died in 2012. Ever since then, lots of companies have approached her estate, proposing many types of business deals. But Pat Houston, the late singer's sister-in-law and former manager, turned them all down. She turned down all those offers. She declined the offers. And when you decline an offer, you don't accept it. You don't do what was proposed. So the estate had many offers, but it turned them all down. When you turn something or someone down, it's less harsh than saying you reject a person or an offer. When you reject something, you say, no, and I don't want it. Or no, I don't like this idea. I'll give you an example. I routinely get emails from people, not listeners, just other people in the world, about the Plain English website, telling me that they found lots of errors and if only I sign up with their service, they'll fix everything on my website. I reject those offers. I say, no, I didn't ask you for this proposal. I don't want it. Go away, basically. That's a strong no. I'm not turning them down. I'm saying no. I'm rejecting it. But there are other times where people will propose things that I turn down, not because it isn't a good idea, not because I don't want it, but it just doesn't fit into the strategy that I have for the program right now, or I don't think it would serve the whole audience. So in that case, I politely turn down the idea. I politely say no or not just now. You might ask someone on a date, and that person might either say yes, or that person might turn you down. That person might say no. If you're applying to a prestigious university, and if you have not paid a large bribe to a sports coach, you might be turned down. You might be accepted, or you might be turned down, not accepted. Do you know who Emilia Clarke is? She starred in HBO's Game of Thrones, and there were some nude scenes for her character in the early seasons of that show. She thought that those scenes attracted all the attention and distracted from the rest of her work. So when producers of the movie 50 Shades of Grey approached her to play Anastasia Steele in that movie, she turned them down. She said no, she wasn't comfortable playing a role that would have, shall we say, more than a little bit of nudity in it, so she turned down that role. It's Monday, so we have a quote. I was reflecting on Thursday's episode, and I thought I'd try to find something from Sir Edmund Hillary. Sir Edmund Hillary was a mountaineer and an explorer from New Zealand, and he became the first man to reach the summit of Mount Everest back in 1953. The quote I have for you from Sir Edmund Hillary is about reaching things, reaching objectives, and meeting your challenges. Here it is. You don't have to be a fantastic hero to do certain things, to compete. You can just be an ordinary chap sufficiently motivated to reach challenging goals. I like that. You don't have to be a fantastic hero, just an ordinary chap. Chap is like a very British way of saying a person or a guy. So with that, we will wrap up for today. Just a quick reminder that we offer so much more than just the audio program via our email list. JR is in charge of that. So if you'd like to get the episode summaries with extra vocabulary words and links to English articles I use to prepare the show, then come join about 3,000 of your fellow listeners on our email list. You can do that by visiting plainenglish.com/mail, M-A-I-L. Just enter your details there and you'll get the episode summaries. Now, one more thing. I've been dropping hints for quite some time about changes, improvements to the program. They're real and they're coming and you're going to love it. And the people who are going to know about this first are the ones on the email list. So if you want to be among the first to know about the improvements and expansions that JR and I have planned, then you will want to be on the email list, plainenglish.com/mail. That's all I'm authorized to say for right now. You will want to be on that list. Okay, that's all for now. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we will see you right back here on Thursday. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then you'll love Plain English Plus. That's because with Plain English Plus, you can get even more from your favorite English podcast. We offer video lessons, flashcards, 2 versions of every episode, and of course, our famous online transcripts with translations into 7 languages. What are you waiting for? Come join us at plainenglish.com/plus.